deaths. The rising numbers have put a spotlight squarely on how easily the virus could spread beyond Africa. Take a look at this. Flights out of major airports in the affected countries arrive in 39 airports, including 3 here in the United States. So how worried should Americans be that the disease could spread here to the United States? Let's bring in Dr. Anthony Fauci, Director of Infectious Diseases at the National Institutes of Health. Dr. Fauci, it's always great to see you. Thanks for your time.
Good to be with you.
Of course. So what is your latest assessment of the threat level in terms of Ebola making it here to the United States?
Well, certainly it's conceivable that someone could get infected in West Africa and be without symptoms and get on a plane and come to the United States. But the spread of it would be highly, highly unlikely that there would be spread. It would be unlikely that someone would get here, but it's certainly feasible that they would. But when you look at what's going on in West Africa, the reason for the spread is the inability to contain and take care of the people who are infected because of the conditions of needing to have personal protective equipment and to protect yourself from the bodily fluids. If someone happened to get infected and come to the United States, we are totally equipped to be able to handle that. So that's why I say, and the CDC says with some confidence, that there really is very, very little threat that there would be spread here if, in fact, someone did come here who was ill.
Well, and that's reassuring, obviously, for anyone here in the United States.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that is an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
There's a plague down in Africa, plague trouble going down. They're trying to bring it to America. They won't spread it all around. So they gotta get it across the ocean. They wanna get it on a 707. Fly it to Texas and Mexico, where they can walk it across the border. Oh, big old jet airliner, take it to the USSA. Oh, big old Obola liner, 'cause it's here they want to spread this plague. You know they need a good crisis here, keep the people running scared, so they can do the things that they couldn't have done, and maybe even take our guns. And don't you dare try to close that border. We'll keep it open by executive order. 'Cause to contain it, to isolate, will only make it spread that much farther. Oh, big old jet airliner, take her to the USSA. Oh, big old Obola liner, 'cause it's here they need to spread their plague. I'm gonna hit the road, seen the show before. Create the problem and pretend they didn't know. Use it to close the freedom door. Then they pretend to be our saviors, like a Sith or a Darth Vader. They say that they will get your back so they can stab you in it later. Oh, big old jet airliner, take 'em to the
Open to if they want to, take a flight to, Costa Rica and then travel up through Mexico and come in. They can come in that way. There's no one watching anyways. President Obama says you'll be fine, so there's nothing to worry about.
No, I know. I'm a nurse. I'm studying nursing, so that's why I'm like, yeah.
Bring people with Ebola over here?
Right, why does it seem shocking?
I think I'll pass.
You don't want to bring Ebola to the country?
No.
Our president does. Come on, the CDC says it's fine. People with Ebola deserve to live. Come on. Look, we're going to bring them into the country.
Fox News celebrities are floating a trial balloon for FEMA camps that they've now rebranded as Ebola camps. Here's what they propose.
I think they should set up special centers for just Ebola in each state. They shouldn't be letting people go into regular hospitals where it could be spread.
Right.
For this specific disease, we should have a special facility with specially trained people who know exactly how to deal with this in each city. That way it's not spread, and when the person walks in, they know what they're looking for, they know if they find it, they know how to contain it.
He probably doesn't want to do it, but Rudy Giuliani would be perfect for this particular role.
Why not put in Fox contributor Oliver North? He's the guy that originally gave us the blueprint for martial law and FEMA camps back in 1984 when he wrote Rex 84. Have you seen anyone on Fox News or any mainstream media suggest that there should be an independent review and hearing for people that they want to quarantine into these camps to ensure that it's legitimate, that it's not being abused? No, you haven't heard anybody say that. As a matter of fact, we've just seen Obama in July give himself by executive fiat the power to apprehend and detain anyone that they believe has the potential to become sick. This is the NDAA, indefinite detention by the military on steroids. And then, of course, there's the health issues. How do we keep people who may be misdiagnosed for Ebola, who may simply have a fever or flu, from being locked up with people who do have Ebola, contracting it, spreading it? The idea that this actress puts out there that people would voluntarily go to these places, that they would accurately self-diagnose themselves as having Ebola, no one is going to voluntarily go to what will become death camps. Our government declares no-fly zones at the drop of a hat. They isolate entire countries using no-fly zones, using embargoes, and they do it for political and economic reasons. But they won't isolate these countries with a pandemic that at the current unabated rate of growth will expand to 5 to 15% of the population. Quite frankly, our government wants this to get out of hand. They could do something about it. Let's look at a third world country and what they had the will and the ability to do. This is the area right now where this is going on the hottest. Of course, Guinea is where it started. Sierra Leone and Liberia, it is still growing exponentially. Now, bordering Liberia, where it is the worst, is the Ivory Coast. They typically have migrant workers cross this border during chocolate season. They're going to shut down that crop, that harvest, by blocking this from migrant workers. They have the ability and the will to close their open borders. They will take the economic hit, but our government won't because they put economics above the population's health. Now, there's another lesson to be had from this. We can look at the story of two countries here, Liberia and Nigeria. Now, in the one case, in Nigeria, this is not contiguous with the countries that are currently having the outbreak. They're way over here. Nigeria is over here, but that was brought in, airborne, on an airplane. One man lied his way into Nigeria. He was very sick by the time he got off the plane. His symptoms manifested while he was in travel. That's something for us to remember because when people are traveling from this area to Western countries, they have journeys that take anywhere to go to the United States. It takes up to 33 hours and multiple stops. He got sick on his journey, got out, was very sick. That created a small epidemic. He gave it to 20 other people, 8 of whom subsequently died, but they contained that single case. So much like the United States, Nigeria has Ebola introduced to it by a single person traveling by air. How did they contain it? Well, they used rapid contact tracing. They looked at primary, secondary, and tertiary contacts. They isolated and watched those people. That turned out to be 898 people. Have you seen that kind of work done by the CDC in America? I haven't. Contrast that to Liberia. Right now in Liberia, there have been 4,076 people who have contracted Ebola. So far, there's been 2,300 deaths. Many people are still sick. Their casualty rate is 70%. What did they do differently? Well, they had open borders. They had politicians telling them not to worry. It's not as serious as it appears. And they have actually censored the news media, threatening reporters, threatening healthcare workers to not talk about this, threatening to arrest people. They've also suspended elections this week. Which country do we look like? Is it more like Nigeria or is it more like Liberia? And